the other part of the D line, the D tackles.
Yeah.
Top 5 defensive tackles coming into this year. Alex, I'm going to go to you first. And it got a little interesting to me because of the fact that with a lot of the edge rushers, they say they can play edge or D tackle. A lot of the outside linebackers potentially could play edge as well. And, if they have the right size, they could play D tackle. But, I mean, what are your thoughts? Obviously, top of the list for most people is Jalen Carter. But where you go from there? And I know he's the best overall, but that off-the-field stuff seems to be continuing to come up. What are your thoughts?
For me, it's just he's still the number one player. It's knocked him down from being the number one overall prospect in this draft for me. But he's still a top 5 talent in this draft. He's a guy that if he's still there at 6, I wouldn't be upset if Detroit takes him. Because it's a guy that if you can get the off-the-field stuff solved, this guy is going to be a top 10 D tackle at the end of next season. Yep. He's that good. I know he came in 9 pounds overweight to the pro day, all that. There's all the extra stuff going on. Yeah. But if you watch the tape, he mauls people in the run game and the pass game. There's nothing he can't do. Right. So to me, he's far and away the number 1 D tackle in this draft, and it's not close. Number 2 for me, I go Kalijah Cansey. He was like my number 5 or 6 if we would have talked this like a month ago. But I've watched more tape on him just because a lot of people say the Lions are going to get him. And it's not just the Pittsburgh comparison, but he reminds me of Aaron Donald. Like he's undersized, but he's strong, physical, fast, can push the pocket. If you look at like pressure rate and all those like advanced stats, he's actually the number 1 D tackle in this draft class. When it comes to pass rush ability, he's the guy that got the most pressure, the one that pushed the pocket the best, all those. But to me, it's that being undersized might limit him in the run defense at the next level. I think if you've got, for example, with Detroit, if you've got that big nose tackle build and you're just looking for that other guy beside him, Cansey's a great player for you to look at. Yeah. But if you've got, for example, Buffalo with an Ed Oliver who's smaller already, pairing Cansey with him is not a good idea in my opinion. Right. So it's all based on what you've got around him for me, but I think he'll be a very good pass rush D tackle at the next level. Number 3 for me is Brian Brzee from Clemson. This is a guy that some people had going top 10. Now I don't really see him in the first round anymore. Huh. I think he's early second round. I think by pick 45 he's gone. Okay. Just because he's still an insane talent. Kind of got lost in the shuffle at Clemson, but you had 4, 5, 6 first round Clemson D linemen at one point there. So it's just it's hard to stand out at that point. But I really like what he brings to the table. And I think he'll be a steal going in the second round. He's a first round talent, but just there's a limited need on D tackles right now, especially first round guys. Number 4 for me, it's my guy, it's Mazi Smith. The first real nose tackle on this list. What he brings to just that run stuff ability to take on 2 guys and allow the linebackers to go everywhere is second to none in this class. And for me, while he's that massive nose tackle type of D tackle, it's a lot like he's a less athletic Vita Vea. He can push the pocket. He can get after the quarterback. We saw multiple times this season where quarterbacks would run out of the pocket because Mazi Smith just destroyed the middle of the offensive line. So this is a guy you'll get day 2. Like I'm kind of hoping we skip D tackle in the first round and get him at 48 if he's still there. Yeah. But I love what Mazi brings to the table. And he's going to be a starting D tackle for a long time in this league. Yeah. And number 5 for me, I went back to kind of the build like Brzee and Carter and those guys, the more athletic D tackles. It's Javon Dexter from Florida. I love what this guy brings to the table. He is nasty. He's an all-around D tackle again. He'll stop the run lanes. He'll push the pocket. He'll do everything you need him to do. I love what Javon Dexter brings to the table.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no. So for me, I mean, look, with Jalen Carter, despite all the off-field stuff, it just you can't overlook the talent. He is by far the best at this position, man, and arguably the best D lineman in this coming draft. So I love his size. We're talking about D tackle 6'3", 314. So and the guy can move. So I mean, obviously, if you have an opportunity to get him, I don't think you pass that up. You just put the people in place that can help him off the field and just make sure that he shows up and is able to play on Sundays. For me, I never Brian Breezy. I've seen him a lot in the ACC, but for me, obviously the talent's there, but it's the size again. There's a theme here with my D tackles. I need you to fill up that middle of that hole. That line, so 6'6", 290, almost 298, almost 300 pounds, 4'8", 40. I mean, look, the physical attributes are off the board. The explosiveness, lateral movement. This guy's an elite prospect. So, although he's not Jalen Carter, you would definitely be good to get him on your squad.
Yeah.
I love where you went at number 2 with Kancey out of Pittsburgh. Obviously, like you said, everybody's comparing him to Aaron Donald. I do love the size. The height for me is, 6'1" is compared to me. 6'1" is huge, but compare some of these other guys on this list that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". The height is a little bit of an issue for me, a little bit undersized in that middle. But it's the lateral movements, that quick twitch. Him being able to shed a blocker and create havoc in there. I'm excited to see how it transitions, but Pitt and potentially going to Pittsburgh, like it's just in-house, in-home. They got their hungry, and so I like what he's doing. For number 4 for me, I got to go with a guy that is undersized as far as weight, but I think his speed is going to help him out. And if you put him on the right defense, Lucas Van Ness. I love that he's able to kind of be mobile inside. That being 30 pounds under 300 really scares me with him.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you can put him in the right system, this is environment based. Like wherever you get him, you have to get him somewhere where the scheme works well with what he can. He's going to be a good pro prospect in my opinion. With his size. I think what's best, he's going to probably be moved out to the edge or, a potential linebacker or something like that. But if you can't get him in there and he's going to have to ball out, but his size as far as height, maybe put on a couple more pounds. But, we'll see how that plays out. That's 3 number for me. Your boy, Mozzie. You look at hhis specs of 6'3", 323, you just licking your chops. You know what I mean? And that's D tackle. That's the BJ Raji. That's the the refrigerator. You need the big meaty Vince guy. That's just gonna, exactly. That's just gonna come in there and clog up that O line, just clog up the hole. And I think he's the guy for that. I love what he's done. You've spoken very highly of him, and the fact that this guy is not only big but can move and played a serious role for you guys. I like that. I like that a lot. My last guy. You could probably get this guy's name out of Northwestern, Adematawa,
Adebo Warrior.
Adebo Warrior, my guy.
I go straight to the last name.
Incredible athlete. We saw him at the combine. 4.4 speed. Again, a mate potentially a little bit smaller at 6'2", 282. But what we've seen and how we've seen him go up against potential picks and other people, and especially with going in the combine and seeing how explosive he is, this is a guy that I think would benefit you if you, again, get him in the right system, give him the opportunity to really make a name for himself. I don't think you can go wrong with this guy. There are guys that are higher potentially on the list, but I'm talking about upside. I'm talking about somebody that, given the right opportunity, can really shine. AA, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got on the table, man. I'm looking forward to seeing. Now, we saw all those. any sleepers, any guys that maybe people are overlooking because it is D tackle, so everybody wants the edge, the linebacker, this and that. People might be overlooking this, but this is key, as we've seen. Aaron Donald, Jonathan Allen for us, like this is huge.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had one that was higher up on the list and now is kind of falling down is Siaki Ika from Baylor. He's another true like nose tackle build. And then for me, just trying to remember his name, from Wisconsin, I think it's Keanu Benton. Him and Zach Pickens from South Carolina are the other two I am looking at. Yeah. I think they're day 2, maybe early day 3 guys, but they're guys that are going to play a solid role on whatever defense they're in.
Well, see, Aki's a 335.
Yeah, he's a big body.
Yeah, he's a prototypical tight end. And then Benton, 309, 6'4", no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Now, let me ask you this, because obviously, if we would have said this months ago, the list would have gone as such. It would have gone Jalen Carter, Myles Murphy, Brian Brzee. You know what I mean? Myles Murphy has dropped. And yes, that size lends him to be more of an edge rusher. But technically still is listed as a potential D tackle. Is there a place for him in the middle of the line? Or, I mean, why is he dropped like this?
I think it's just because more people have pretty much just considered him an edge guy. That's kind of where I'm at now. That's why I left him off. If I had him on, he'd probably be 3, 4, somewhere in there, maybe 5. Yeah. But his skill set actually probably favors him being inside. Because if you look at his pass rush moves, he doesn't really have the rip, the swim, the spin, all those other moves that you look for. But he's got a nasty bull rush, which is typically what you get from an interior guy. So I think he's a guy that maybe is like a 3-4 end, like not the actual outside guy, but kind of that 3 tech in that 3-4, or that actual 4-3 tech, the defensive tackle that's more outside. Yeah. I think he plays that role very well. But if you could get him some actual pass rush moves, then I think he's built better for the outside.
Okay. Yeah, because he's not that prototypical 300, 310, 315, D tackle that you like. He has the height, but that what is he like in his 270s or I don't think he's 270.
Yeah. He reminds me a lot of a guy the Lions kind of found this year was John Kaminsky. Or Josh Pascal, who we drafted last year. They're both edge guys that are like 275, 280. So they're like big end, smaller D tackles. But they both, in pass rush situations, they both move inside.
Right.
They both rush from that D tackle spot. So I think that's another thing you can do with Myles Murphy, because he's such a good run defender. And if you did that, had him outside on first and second down, and then third down you slotted him at the D tackle spot, I think that's something that could fare very well for him in whatever team takes him.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see, man, because size matters to me in this position. I mean, I'm like you. I'm old school. Give me my guy that's 300 plus, and just stick him in the middle, and nobody is going to get around him, or at least you're going to have to bounce it because he's just going to clog up the middle of that line.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm with it. So that's D tackles.